Let's start with the EB-1A and EB-2 NIW. USCIS doesn't care about country and they don't care about industry. They just put the burden on you. You prove you are one of the best in your field, from your country, in your industry, and you can prove that, boom, we give you the green card. EB-2 NIW, slightly different. You don't have to prove you're the best of the best, but you have to prove that what you're going to do in the US is so important and that you're capable to do it, and that on balance, it's worth it to let you cut in line so you don't have to advertise and say, hey, we're recruiting this foreigner. And if this foreigner, if nobody else can apply for this job, we'll give it to this foreigner, right? So that's EB-2 NIW. Your job, the project that you're gonna do is so important and you are capable to do it. These two categories are really dear to my heart because the client can pre-plan. I'm gonna work this hard, I'm gonna spend this much money, I'm gonna build up my LinkedIn profile, I'm gonna build up my resume. Other types of green card applications, you're much more reactive. You're waiting for somebody that you can meet, that you can potentially marry, right? It's like you're dependent on so many other factors, whereas EB-1A, EB-2 NIW is just saying, here I am, approve me. It's just about putting things together and whether or not you want to or not. And that is a superpower. Let's go through the concepts of EB-1A. In the past, arguably 16 years, they were mostly focused on almost like a math problem. You have to meet at least 3 out of the 10. At least 3 of the factors out of the 10. Any 3, pick your 3. Once you meet 3, generally we approve you. Do you have an award that is like internationally recognized? Did you make an original and major contribution in your field, right? You're a dumpling chef. Okay, what kind of dumplings did you make? Did you change the dumpling game? How did you change your field, right? Do you have a high salary? You're part of key memberships. You did big exhibitions and you have a lot of ticket sales. You have media publications about you. Every major news channel have published about you. You have published books and you have major citations. You're a scholar. USCIS uses the same 10 criteria for the past decades and decades and decades. But the world has changed and evolved. Not every country has the same westernized idea of memberships where it's like, oh, the Royal Academy, you're the best of the best, therefore you can join this select group of members that only they could talk to each other, right? Well, now, I mean, in other countries, the government picks who's the best and then send them off to do projects. So there's a lot of criteria, but it's different to every single culture, it's different to every single country, it's different to every single background. So you really take a step back and you just want to ask the client, well, tell me what other people do in your class, right? You graduated from a master's degree, you have your peers, what do other people do? Oh, they've done this and they've done that. But you've like 3x'd them, you've 4x'd them. How many people of your class was able to achieve what you have achieved? You started an international company, you were able to have several patents, and you were able to do cross different industries, and you were able to make the salary, you were able to start a company. Like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Very few people have done that. Okay, well, maybe we can argue that you are one of the best. One thing I always tell clients is like, how can you help the officer to approve you and deny everybody else, right? Because the officer, what they don't want is they don't want to approve your case and then suddenly have to prove 1,000 other people who's just like you. So show them how you are different than everybody else. What is your industry specifically, right? Half the work is deciding exactly who to compare it with, right? Are you the best athlete? Or are you the best basketball player? Or are you the best female basketball player? Or are you the best female point guard basketball player? Define the scope that you're comparing with and prove you are the best within that scope and show documents to show that, well, this is what other people have achieved and this is what I have achieved, right? So much of doing an EB-1A case is about understanding the client. It's about educating the client about the law. So you work with them, you prepare the case, you file it, pay for premium processing, 3 weeks. Sometimes the approval comes within a day. EB-2 NIW is actually a little bit reverse of that. So it's the way I like to explain it is it's similar to a latte and a macchiato. They both have espresso in it. They both have milk in it. But what's the difference? The ratio, right? So for EB-1A cases, 80%, you're proving you are amazing. You are better than everybody else. And then 20%, you're proving I'm going to come to the US and do some amazing things. For EB-2 NIW, 20% is about you, and 80% is about what you're going to do. I'm going to come and do this amazing thing, and I'm capable enough to do it. Maybe I haven't won international awards, but I have enough of the capability to make that happen. I have my experience, I have my funding, I have certain things, right? So typically speaking, if you do rough estimate, 20, 30, maybe even early 40-year-olds, maybe a EB-2 NIW is a good application for them. If they're pretty extraordinary, they're highly educated, they have a good plan, because they don't have that much to show for their worth yet. But that's not always necessarily the case, right? Because the hard part about EB-2 NIW is to prove you're gonna come to the US to do something very, very important. We just did a case where the client has absolutely next to zero plans to come to the US to do something. He's somewhat extraordinary, but in that situation, what do? Well, EB-2 NIW is nearly impossible. EB-1A, if you prove you're good enough, that might still be a shot, right? So you could find yourself in a very unique situation where EB-1A is actually easier for your client compared to EB-2 NIW. But once you know these two, and you know when you're talking to clients, you're like, oh, you're a famous dancer, or you started this major, crazy hair salon. It doesn't have to be, something that's reputable according to societal standards, right? So there's this other attorney that I know. He's gotten a ton of EB-1A cases. Guess for what? For cougar dating advice. Is that quote unquote reputable in society, right? Generally we think, oh, astronauts, doctors saving lives. But USCIS, they just care, are you the best in your field? And you know what? Nobody else does cougar matching like this guy. So he was the best and he did it, right? But this is a fun part of immigration. You can spot different clients. You get the feel like they are pretty extraordinary at what they do. They don't have to be rich, right? Being wealthy from what you do is just one sign that you are the best. Maybe you are an amazing writer, you're a poet, and different presidents of the past and other countries write you thank you letters, and they ask you to write poetry for them for every birthday. Well, you're pretty amazing. You might not be super wealthy, you might be shy, and you don't want to go on TV, but if there's things to prove that you are quite extraordinary, it is something to consider, to prepare, to file for EB-1A and for EB-2 NIW. I'm going to take a step back and talk to you guys about what successful firms that do EB-1A, that do EB-2 NIW do. There's generally 3 to 4 types. Type number 1, your firm does EB-1A and EB-2 NIW so well because you are steep into that particular field. So I know firms that all they do is neurosurgeons from a certain area of the world. They know all the publishers, they know all the trade journals, they know all the professors. They only do neurosurgeons. They don't do any other case category. But when a client gives them their LinkedIn profile, they can very quickly copy and paste from different briefs in the past, contact different people to write letter recs, and build it up together and file it. Because they go to all the trade shows, they themselves maybe have publishers, they just focus on one particular industry and they just dominate. And because they're always in that field, when they meet somebody in that field and who wants to apply, they help prepare it, they help file, they get it approved, their reputation improves, and they just continuously stay in that particular field, right? They dominate. So that's one type of EB-1A, EB-2 NIW field that I see. And the second type, they do all cases, and they do it extremely inexpensive. You say you're amazing, here's the USCIS requirements, here's the checklist. What do you have? Here's a checklist. Oh, you give it to us? Great. Put it together, fill out the form, make the payment, file. Time spent, a few hours, collect everything, keep the price extremely affordable, and file. That's the second type of firm that do a lot of EB-1A and NIW and are very successful. So they charge a very, very small reasonable fee, but really what they're doing is they collect, they polish it a little bit, and they file. but they do thousands of applications. The third type of firm, which is actually us, we don't narrowly focus on one particular field. We don't just do the absolute bare minimum of signing a form, collecting documents, and file. We take each client and we educate them and we help them and we work with them and we partner with them to build up the best case they can possibly build, and then we file together. It's a lot of work, it takes a lot of time. One of the craziest, longest case between Andy and I, it was like almost 4 years to do one case. We spend a lot of time and a lot of hours collecting everything, polishing everything, reading, researching, building it up together. The client builds it, we build it, client hires other people to help, right? It's a team effort to build the best possible case. So if you want to do EB-1A and EB-2 NIW cases, you yourself should be somewhat curious. You should be somewhat a type of person that likes to go in depth, right? Because if a client is a cowhide maker, you need to help the client in English make the argument that they are the best cowhide maker and that the US will be better making cowhides with this person. But if you don't care about cowhides, well, then you're gonna not make a very good argument. If you want to do things kind of consistently and do things that you somewhat know already, then choose a particular field and get into it and see who wants to apply for O1, EB-1A and kind of start there. If you're naturally curious, you love reading, you love learning new things, you don't shy away from it, it's not like killing you, the third type of EB-1A is actually quite fun. I actually thoroughly enjoy it because I get to talk to different people from different industries. You're the best marketing person in the beauty product industry. I learned so much from that. You are the best energy sector for nuclear energy power production. I learned so much from that, right? So every expert I get to work with and talk with, it's like downloading an enormous amount of information that I otherwise won't get, and then that makes me a better person. There have been plenty of people who already got an EB-2, meaning a company sponsored them, they got a green card, but maybe they don't want to stay in the company anymore, but they're tied to the company. Those people, especially people from India, they have like a 5-year, 10-year backlog. They want to do EB-2 NIW to go faster, so they could be independent. So EB-2 approvals jump to EB-2 NIW. That is something that not a lot of people are doing, but it's totally ripe to do. And the argument is that much easier. Look, I already got the I-140 approved. I already demonstrated that I could do things that US workers can't do. Just give me the EB-2 NIW. So you're just making an additional argument. So just upgrading from EB-2 to EB-2 NIW. That market, from what I've seen, not a lot of people are doing. Second, people who have EB-2 NIW approved, but the priority date, 4 years, 5 years, too long. Their kid's gonna age out. Upgrade from EB-2 NIW to EB-1A. I'm already EB-2 NIW. You already approved me talking about how important my work is. I'm also the best of the best. Let me demonstrate. Get that approval, then suddenly you get the EB-1 priority date and you can immediately file adjustment of status. So there's so much within this space that you can target. You could target the need, EB-2 to EB-2 NIW. You could target industry. You could talk about methodology. Choose us because we are affordable. We are cheap. We're not trying to scam you. We keep the cost low. You can choose us because we are the experts in this particular field. We know all the key players. You could choose us because we have the team that can help your case that's super unique that nobody else is willing to do, but we could do it well. You know, pick your lane.